question 2A. Question 3B. AB. Okay. Question 4 D. Question 5 C. Alright, okay, let's look at questions. In question 1, which structures will contribute to the final composition of semen? Okay, what is A? Okay, bladder. Okay, what does bladder contain? Liquid. What kind of liquid? You all learned before. Urine. Yeah? T, not T. Okay, so urine. That's the bladder. Bladder does not contribute to the semen. Yeah? Semen contains nutrients for sperm to survive. The urine will kill it. Answer is A, right? It is D only. Okay, so everything else doesn't contribute. B doesn't contribute. It's the vas deferens. It's just a tube that helps channel the sperm. C is the penis. Okay, that is nothing more than a tube. Spongy one. Which row shows the effects of estrogen and progesterone? If you have that mind map that I gave you, or actually I think what would be better would be your textbook. Your textbook shows all the graphs. I think that would be a better thing to refer to. Okay, then we see if all of these are true. Okay. Number 1, high levels needed for ovulation. Do I need high levels of estrogen or progesterone for ovulation? Okay, you look at your textbook, there's a small little accumulation of estrogen that leads to ovulation. The accumulation of estrogen leads to actually the high secretion of LH. Okay. Next, low levels needed to prevent development of more follicles. Ironically, it's also estrogen. Okay. At the very levels, prevent development of more follicles. That is also estrogen. When estrogen levels are low, more towards the end stage, then you will not get any more follicles developing. Low levels needed to prevent development of more follicles. I would say that it's not progesterone because it was not really produced to begin with. It was only produced in the later stages. Is it wrong though? Okay, fair enough. Then I guess we could accept progesterone also. I don't see it as it's not wrong per se. Okay, but then we find the best option now. We find the best option out of all these four options. Okay, next, high levels needed to prevent secretion of FSH. Okay, that one, no two ways about it. Right, we're quite sure it's progesterone. Maintains uterine lining. The main one is progesterone. Yeah. Okay, so the one that differs from number 2 would be estrogen. Estrogen's role is not so much to maintain the uterine lining, it helps to build it up in the first place. Okay? So 1 will be the best answer. Okay, next. C, A3. Which alphabet indicates the location where fertilization of the egg occurs? It actually occurs at the fallopian tubes, not so much at A. Today's lesson, later on, we will learn about how the zygote will develop into a baby. Actually, fertilization takes place too late. I don't quite know what the impact will be. I think the baby may plant itself too close to the cervix. Yeah, so I think the earlier it fertilizes up the fallopian tube, the better the location it can be for implantation. Yeah. Okay, so B. Some students may write A. That would be where implantation will take place, where the zygote will plant itself. Okay, but as you see later on, it's not really the zygote anymore. But that's 4. Okay, this one we'll cover today. But did anyone manage to do it? No? Do you want to go? which one of the following is not a function of the placenta? It says D, supports and cushions the fetus from mechanic shock. Okay, as you will find out today, the placenta does not do that. There's something else that helps to cushion you when you are inside your mother, right? That would have been, you ever heard this thing called amniotic sac? A more layman term would be the water bag. How the water bag? Yeah, but if the water bag breaks, it means baby's about to come out. That time I was in the army, that time I was in the army, I had one army mate whose wife was pregnant. Then after, okay, but before we go for any exercise or for any training in the forest, right, we'll always carry with us a water bag, right, behind us, so they can plug a tube in our mouth and we can drink as we fight, you know. Then, so as we were about to go into the forest, right, my army mate said, officer, the water bag burst. Then after that we were like, okay. So someone go and fetch him a new water bag, like, okay, it's okay, just replace that. Then no, my wife's water bag burst. Then after that we let him go, then after that he sent photos of the new one. So this is question 4. 5. The diagram shows cross-section of a male reproductive system. Okay. Which of the following will happen if structure X is removed from the body? Ouch. Okay, remove structure X. Okay, so the sperms produced will be unable to swim. Fair enough? Yeah? Okay, sperms will not be produced. Structure X, I believe, I don't even know what I'm pointing to. Let's say it's a vast difference. Okay, so somewhere here, whatever X is not pointing to the testicles, right? Okay, so testosterone sperms can still be produced, volume of semen will be less. Actually, if you remove the testicles altogether, male can still produce semen, just that no sperm inside. Yeah? Okay, so if I were to ask you, where is the bladder? Can you identify on the worksheet? X marks the spot for the bladder. Yeah? Okay, now I want you to identify where shit will be stored. Okay, S marks the spot. Okay. If you think that there is where the poop is stored, right? Then I ask you, if the poop is stored there, where is the opening for the poop to come out? Okay, there needs to be an opening, That's the opening. Okay, so where is urine sperm is stored here? Is there an opening? Okay, so it will come out through here. Okay, where is poop stored? Here. Yeah, there's no opening. Okay, if not, we have a perpetual poop bag that just keep going. Speaking of which, I my colony of ants, right? I learned that ants, when they are in their caterpillar stage, right, they don't poop at all, you know. So they don't poop until their teenage years, when they are in a cocoon and metamorphosizing into an ant. Then they start pooping into their cocoon. So all of their cocoons of my ants, right, at the bottom, right, there's one black spot. Because they've been saving their shit since childhood, right, until teenage years, then they shit. But they do that because the ants want to keep the nest clean. So the baby ants only poop when they're inside the cocoon, so it's much more hygienic. Okay, so this is the rectum, this is where poop is stored, and this is where it will come out. Okay, what else? Where does sperm come out from? Yeah, so this pathway, and still also via out the urethra. Yeah, so males, you make use of one tube for two purposes. I recently learned that female chickens shit and lay eggs by the same hole. Okay, I don't know what you about that. Yeah. So that means that all the eggs that come out, right, confirm smothered with chicken. How you don't eat the shell? What? Yeah, who eats the shell? Yeah, so what they do, right, is for female chicken, right, is that, so they have one opening, then there is a channel for poop, there's a channel for the egg. So they kind of like take turns, no, but they use the same opening. My grandma very cute. Recently, she was saying, if you look out, because she's growing lime plants now, after lime, then after that there's a butterfly she's visiting. And he said that, oh, the butterfly is very interesting. When it shits, right, the new caterpillars will emerge from the shit. And I'm like, what are you saying? And I was like, don't you mean that they lay eggs? And it's like, no, they're emerging from the poop that comes out. And I'm like, okay. This graph over here shows the levels of FSH and LH in the adult female. This question actually doesn't ask you to write down levels in textbook. Just want you to describe what you see. Okay? Yeah, so how will we describe what we see? Yeah. If you are ever provided a graph and we ask you to describe what you see, what I recommend is that you look broadly and then you break it up into sections of days. Okay? So if you look at your graph now, actually can you split it up into sections of days? How many sections do you want to describe? Okay, I see you're raising 3, some 4. Okay, what if I go with 4, what will the 4 be? Day what to what, day what to what? Okay, 0 to 5 want to describe as one of sections. Any more? 5 to 10. Any more? 10 to 14. And then 14 onwards. Okay, so Kadeen's method is that way. Take it up.
Say like 0 to 13.
0 to
Like
13.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then the 14.
14, which is a peak, and then 15 onwards. Okay. So we will want to break it up into segments. Whatever it is, right? I don't have a fixed answer, but whatever it is, try to break it up into segments, then you describe each segment of days. Right? Then it will be easier and more neat also. So I give you a sample. I give you a sample. For example, they write day 0 to day 5. You see a gradual increase in FSH to LH. From what to what? Notice that the question says with reference to the graph. So a quick check of your response. Do you make reference? How would one make reference? I will make reference by making reference to the units. Okay, that's how I will make reference. Okay, so this is a sample, day 0 to 5. Okay, don't need to copy this wholesale. It's on Google Classroom number 1. Number 2, perhaps you just want to write a bullet point summary of how you could organize your answers. Next, you could describe day 5 to 9. You start to see a decrease in FSH. Okay, so this sample answer kind of follows Kadeen's one, right? From day 5 onwards, you see a slight change, right, for FSH. Okay, day 9 to 13, and then day 15 to 24. Okay, I'm now going to highlight another color. I'm going to underline. The question actually has 2 parts. They say describe and then explain the changes. So you have to explain why there is a change. Day 0 to 5, there's a gradual increase because, okay, so underline, secretion of FSH and LH in AAP is not inhibited. Day 5 to 9, all the underlined portions are the explanation for why there's this change. We try to learn how to use the terms negative feedback or inhibition incorporate it into your answers. As well as positive feedback. usually for this topic, we would like to try to provide you the same graph for you to interpret. Unlikely that we ask you to draw it out. Yes.
The thing says cookies and active stage from 14 to
From 14 from 14 to around 12.
it doesn't actually reach 14. That one is live weight. Same or is that stage? Oh wait, yeah, it is at stage.
Yeah, it's a message. So it dips, right? From 14 to around 12, 11. Okay, the next question asks you to predict and explain what type of hormones are present in contraceptive pills. So contraceptive pills, layman term, I'll describe it as birth control pills. What kind of hormones will be present? What do you think? Right? What kind of hormones will be present? Okay. Some of the hormones that will be present could be the same hormones that regulate ovulation, development of endometrium. Anyone here wrote that perhaps the pills contain FSH or LH? No one? In reality, it contains estrogen and progesterone. That's what females will consume when they take the birth control pills. If I'm not wrong, the birth control pills come in like a packet, and there are many days with, and each day I think contains a different amount of hormone. Okay, so the hormones that you may want to suggest is estrogen and progesterone. Explain why, right, these hormones are typically used. Well, because if there's a lot of estrogen and progesterone, there are high levels of estrogen and progesterone, it will prevent the development of more follicles. And if no new follicles develop, there won't be any new ovulation. Yes. Yeah. Oh, you're talking about the pills, is it? Oh, why not just take enzymes then? Oh, what do you? But the question asks what kinds of hormones will these pills contain? Yeah, so, not but if it was open, I think the answer perhaps possible. Yeah. Okay. Which part of the graph is this? Okay. When we take estrogen and progesterone, what are we trying to mimic? We're trying to mimic the later part of the graph that you see. Okay, post-ovulation, you see that there's higher amounts of progesterone and estrogen. That's what the pills are trying to mimic. Okay, once the progesterone and estrogen be high, so that no new eggs are developing. You are saying it up. You find that your graph goes something like that, right? You know, you should look at the progesterone and estrogen graph. I think after ovulation, day 14, you'll find that progesterone graph increase, then estrogen graph also increases. This is what we're trying to mimic here. We're trying to provide high amounts of estrogen and progesterone so that no new follicles develop. It has a negative inhibition when these two fellas combine together. Last question. Explain how the features of the sperm aid in its functions. Okay. I think this one we spoke about long time in JH2 before. Mitochondria generate ATP so that the sperm can swim. Okay. It contains a nucleus with haploid number of chromosomes, so that it can fuse with the egg. To form a diploid zygote. Next structure, the tip of the sperm contains contains a structure called the ecosome that contains hydrolytic enzymes. Hydrolytic enzymes are things that can digest. Okay, and digest what? So that it can break down this structure called the zona pellucida. It also has a tail to propel the sperm up the female reproductive tract. This is a 3-mark question. Any 3 will do. There are 4 points given. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So you just have to give me any one of the 3. This is the structure of the egg. Structure of the sperm. Those that are done, I'm going to continue on from page 44 onwards. There are 4 more pages to the end of the chapter of human reproduction. The remaining part of the chapter gets just interesting. Yeah. Relax, take down some notes along the way. We'll watch some videos to try and make sense of what's happening. Okay, but the estrogen, the ovarian and menstrual cycle was the highlight of this chapter. Okay. Right. Now we're going to close out the chapter for today. What's the largest human? Okay, so we're going to continue on. Then I'm going to see how much you can do. Okay, of course I'm missing a lot of lessons. Next Tuesday I miss you. But this Friday I miss you. Next Tuesday I miss you. Yeah? But you always be my heart. Okay, so I'll see you again next Friday. So it's quite a long way to go. Right? So today we'll try to cover the structure of the sperm and egg, which you've learned a little bit in JH2. And then we'll talk about fertilization, which we also learned a little bit in JH2. This post-fertilization that is quite new to us. So I'll begin with the question, what is the largest cell in the human body? Yeah, actually it's an egg cell. And did you know that the egg cell can actually be seen without a microscope? Yeah? Look at that coin. Yeah, I'm going to show you this video. It's amazing. The sperm. Okay, look, there's a coin. You see that white dot in that water droplet? That's a human egg. Yeah? That's 10 human eggs put together. That's a great question. You go and Google. I have no idea how they took it out. Because actually the eggs have been ovary, right? Yeah. I don't exactly know how they take the eggs out. No, even for in vitro fertilization. That's something for you to Google. Right? Okay, so eggs are actually really big. You can actually see them, right? And then all of us developed in that one little dot. Imagine that. That's really mind-boggling, you know, that from that one dot, right, comes this multicellular organism. So we're going to go to fertilization and beyond. Right? We've looked at how the structure of the male and female reproductive system. We've looked at how hormones regulate the female reproductive system. Today we're going to look at how fertilization occurs. We've looked at the structure of the human egg and the human sperm before. Yeah? Okay, just very broadly, the main parts of the human sperm are that it contains a tail, so that it can wiggle. Can you show me how you think a sperm will move using your hand? Okay, so I see such a movement. Okay, I see some of you all the wave-like motion a little bit more high level. Okay. Okay. Shanae from the other class was like how a sperm moves, she was like just dancing on the spot. Okay, so the tail will help propel the sperm. Then there's the mitochondria to supply the energy that the sperm needs to do its. And then there is the nucleus that contains half the number of chromosomes. And then contains this vesicle called the acrosome that contains a lot of hydrolytic enzymes that helps to digest the outer coat of the egg. So let's look at the structure of the egg. The human egg actually contains a lot of other things. When we look at a human egg, this is the human egg. Do you recall the human egg is paused at a certain stage of meiosis? Right? Okay, you want to write it down on page 39. The human egg is paused at meiosis 2, metaphase 2. Yeah, it's paused there. You recall oogenesis. Surrounding the egg, you find this layer of jelly. Don't write layer of jelly. It's called the zona pellucida. This layer is made up of what we call glycoproteins, which are proteins combined with sugars. That's the same thing your mucus is made up of. Yeah? So glycoproteins. I don't know what the texture is like of this jelly-like layer, but if it seems the same material as the mucus, or it's suffice to say it may be the texture. Here you see a lot of brown things surrounding it. Those are actually cells. So, actually, the human egg contains a jelly layer surrounding it and a lot of other cells. These cells came from the ovary. Remember, when we talk about ovulation, the egg needs to like pop out, right? And then it pops out. But when it pops out, the egg, it actually carries along with it a lot of cells that came from the ovary itself. So this is like a bachelorette party. A lot of the female girls, right? A lot of female cells, right, surrounding the woman that's about to get married. Right? So it's the last party, because it's just that format. The last party before the real marriage occurs. Okay, so always remember, there's always like a gang of cells surrounding this main female cell. We call this gang of cells the corona radiata. Corona means crown, radiata means radiating. So actually it looks like a radiating crown surrounding the pit in the middle. Inside the female egg, you also find a lot of vesicles called cortical granules. Its function, we'll learn about it in a while. I'd now like to show you the epic egg. Okay, I want to show you this first. We say that the sperm moves like that, right? In recent years, we realized it's a lie. For 350 years, we always thought sperm move like a tadpole. In reality, they move in this way. Yeah, it looks like this, right? We always see animations of it going left and right. In reality, it's not. Rather than just 2D from above. Okay? So this is how actually sperms move. I tell you, sperms go through an epic journey. During copulation, 300 million sperms are released at any one time. I mean, give or take lah. Maybe this guy is not very good. 300 million, not very rich. And one makes it victorious. Think about that, that's crazy. So they're so fast. Okay, so what is it like, right? How is it only one makes it? Is it like all 300 million race and then the best of the best make it? Okay, actually, it is like, wow, it's an epic journey. I'm going to show you this video, which you may have watched before. Primary school. Okay, everyone watched this video before, but today we're watching new lens. I would like you to take note as many points as possible. How 299 million sperms did not make it. Yeah. No, 299 900. Okay. How so many sperms did not make it to the end? Okay, take note as many points as possible. Very poor thing is
Fertilization is the epic story of a single sperm facing increment to unite with an egg and form a new human life. It is the story of all of us. During sexual intercourse, about 300 million sperm enter the vagina. Soon afterward, millions of them will either flow out of the vagina or die in its acidic environment. However, many survive because of the protective elements provided in the fluids surrounding them. Next, the sperm must pass through the cervix, an opening into the uterus. Usually, it remains tightly closed, but here the cervix is open for a few days while the woman ovulates. The sperm swim through the cervical mucus, which is thinned to a watery consistency for easier passage. Once inside the cervix, the sperm continues swimming toward the uterus, though millions will die trying to make it through the mucus. Some sperm remain behind, caught in the folds of the cervix, but they may later continue the journey as a backup to the first group. Inside the uterus, muscular uterine contractions assist the sperm on their journey toward the egg. However, resident cells from the woman's immune system mistaking the sperm for foreign invaders, destroying thousands of them.
white blood cells.
Next, half the sperm head for the empty fallopian tube, while the other half swim toward the tube containing the unfertilized egg. Now, only a few thousand remain. Inside the fallopian tube, tiny cilia push the egg toward the uterus. To continue, the sperm must surge against this motion to reach the egg. Some sperm get trapped in the cilia and die. During this part of the journey, chemicals in the reproductive tract cause the membranes to overlap and change. As a result, the sperm become more active, swimming harder and faster toward their destination. At long last, the sperm reach the egg. Only a few dozen of the original 300 million sperm remain. The egg is covered with a layer of cells called the corona radiata. The sperm must push through this layer to reach the outer layer of the egg, the zona pellucida. When sperm reach the zona pellucida, they attach to specialized sperm receptors on the surface, which triggers their acrosomes to release digestive enzymes, enabling the sperm to burrow into the layer. Inside the zona pellucida is a narrow, fluid-filled space just outside the egg cell membrane. The first sperm to make contact will fertilize the egg. After a perilous journey and against incredible odds, a single sperm attaches to the egg cell membrane. Within a few minutes, their outer membranes fuse and the egg pulls the sperm inside. This event causes changes in the egg membrane that prevent other sperm from attaching to it. Next, the egg releases chemicals that push other sperm away from the egg and create an impenetrable fertilization membrane. As the reaction spreads outward, the zona pellucida hardens, trapping any sperm that can be put inside. Outside the egg, sperm are no longer able to attach to the zona pellucida. Meanwhile, inside the egg, the tightly packed male genetic material spreads out. A new membrane forms around the genetic material, creating a male nucleus. Inside, the genetic material reforms into 24
Yeah, then the female will resume meiosis.
awakened by the fusion of the sperm.
Yeah, now metaphase, now goes to anaphase.
resulting in the female nucleus, which also contains 23 chromosomes. As the male and female pronuclei form, spider-web-like threads called microtubules pull them toward each other. The two sets of chromosomes join together, completing the process of fertilization. At this moment, a unique genetic code arises, instantly determining gender, hair color, eye color, and hundreds of other characteristics. This new cell inside the zygote is the beginning of a new human being. And now the cilia in the fallopian tube gently sweep the zygote toward the uterus, where he or she will implant in a rich uterine womb, growing and maturing for the next 9 months until ready for birth.
Okay, on days where I feel down, I tell myself I'm the winner of 300 million. All of us were. Okay, so how many obstacles did the sperm encounter? A lot, right? Okay, acidic environment. Anything else? Foreign invaders? Oh, white blood cells, yes. White blood cells. Anything else? What? Cilia, okay, you have to swim against the cilia, a sweeping motion very hard. Okay, you may be trapped in the mucus. What kind of chemicals? Anti-sperm chemicals. Not that I know of. Okay, not that I know of that there are anti-sperm chemicals. Yeah, but I think what the video said was the chemicals that make the sperm swim even harder. Yeah. Okay, anything else that the sperm encounters that makes it hard? Oh yeah, do you see the red set part? There are two fallopian tubes, right? And one got glowing light on, right? Yeah, okay. Okay, ovums don't glow, okay, but it's just that there are two ways to go. You just make the wrong turn, right? It's gone already. Okay, so the wrong fallopian tube. Anything else? The cervix, right? The cervix not always open. Last two obstacles. You also have to go through number one, the corona radiata. He has to make it through the crowd to get the lady in the middle. Yeah? Okay, so corona radiata number 7. That's the next obstacle he needs to encounter. And for those that manage to make it to pass the layer of cells, number 8 obstacle. Okay, number 8 obstacle is the zona pellucida, the jelly layer. Right? Okay, so how does the sperm make it through that jelly layer? Yeah, the hydrolytic enzymes from the acrosomes eats it. Okay, no, it doesn't eat it. Okay, so acrosome, it will release the enzymes needed to help digest. Yeah, okay, it helps to digest the zona pellucida so that it can reach the lady in the middle. We call this reaction an acrosome reaction. Yeah, I think it's your textbook, you can highlight it. Acrosomal reaction. Okay. Acrosomal reaction is the reaction of the hydrolytic enzymes being used to digest the jelly layer. Okay, so now this sperm has managed to reach there. Okay, good. So now that it's reached, it will then fuse to the female cell membrane, the ovum. You release its genetic material inside so that you can form a new nucleus that is deployed in nature. You know what? The sperm and the egg are very committed for life. In fact, they're so committed that they form you. And you cannot separate. Yes?
You know, you said in concentration, then the egg will finish its meiosis.
Yeah.
What happens to the other?
Great question, right? Okay. So, if the egg continues its meiosis, then shouldn't it form 2 cells? Right? Think about it. The egg was paused at meiosis, metaphase 2, right? If it continues on to anaphase, telophase, cytokinesis, you should get 2 cells, right? Okay, so there should be another cell. There is. Okay, so very often, this female egg will just eject one tiny little cell at the side. okay, with half the number of DNA inside. So n number inside. Okay, so we call this cell the second polar body. For your information, just for your information. This cell is often still present. If you look at the structure of a real egg, you often see one tiny little cell at the side just containing half the number of chromosomes. But that's not what the sperm fertilizes. You want to fertilize the bigger one. Okay? So once they make a commitment, this female, the ovum, needs to let the whole world know they are taken. So what will it do? It will then start to release these vesicles to the surface via exocytosis. And then the magic happens. Chemicals will be released in the zona pellucida that will cause this layer to harden. Imagine you know your mucus, you leave it out for too long, then you'll harden into like no shit that you can dig out. Yeah. So this jelly-like layer will harden when these cortical granules get exocytosed and release the chemicals. We call this reaction cortical reaction. Wow, very lucky, not very complicated. Okay, so two reactions that will ensure that fertilization takes place. Number one, acrosome reaction. Number two, the cortical reaction to prevent more sperms from fertilizing it. Yeah, and then they make a lifelong commitment, and then boom, you appear. Okay, no, you don't skip so many steps, huh? But if there's anything I learned from the video, is that actually fertilization is not that easy. It's not like population confirm your baby. Okay, but I'm not challenging you all either. Okay, so it's not that easy. There are a lot of obstacles along the way. So I learned, right, that actually, it's not like a one-time thing that you confirm will get a baby. Usually couples, if they want a baby, when they know the fertile period, during that period, just thanks Nicole for putting it so bluntly. Yeah. Right, so do it more often. So that you can ensure not just 300 million sperms, but like 600 million, 900 million, what's after a billion? Billion. Like billion sperms. Confirm got, wow, actually then you're a super big winner, right? You're not just one out of 300 million, like the winner of billions of sperm. Yes? Right? If only I can remember. Yeah, there was the sperm got no brain, I can't remember. This is a real egg. And then you can see the corona radiata. Actually, it's a really thick layer of cells. This party is really still going on. And then you see the sperms on the outside. All the bachelors trying to reach the bachelorette in the middle. Not that easy to get through, right? You must first move through all the crowd of cells before you can reach the egg. Fertilization is not that easy, right? Some couples do face troubles going through that process to get a baby, even though they want one. So a lot of technologies have been developed. One of the interesting ones I discovered as I was Googling was that we created nanobots that can help to ferry the sperm. This one is that sperm, right, that comes in a Lamborghini, you know. Like, boom. Like, hey, check me out. Right? Yeah, okay, so it's like this small little robot, there's a spiral that can capture the sperm via the tail. Then it just helps it along, like, doing a spinning motion. I don't know, man. I really don't know how it works. It's so fascinating. Okay, yeah, so you think about it. This is it can be done, but should it be done? you think about it, there were billion sperms, and then that one, right, may have been a fetus, right? But over here, I'm not sure if you're granting this sperm shortcut.
Everything is not, nothing's moving, so nothing.
And then this is a test, this is a test. But beyond the zygote, right, after it's fused to form the zygote, this is what happens next. The zygote undergoes a series of mitosis to eventually form you. Okay, I'm going to go to page 46 now. Okay. Truly, to understand how from a zygote you become a big baby, right? It's a very, 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 very long and chapter. But we're not going to go to that level. When you go to university, if you go to university and you want to study more biology, there's a whole module just on development of the baby, right? For us, we're going to understand it on a very simple level. Number one, you begin with a zygote that is diploid. It's a single cell. Okay, these 4 words I'm going to put on the whiteboard are all the terms you need to know. Yeah, you need to know all the in-between stages if you end up reading it. It will then undergo mitosis to form a collection of cells that appears to be like a ball. And later on we'll see this. Okay, so from one cell, it will become multicellular. And it will look like a ball of cells, in fact. We call this ball of cells the blastocyst. Okay, ball of cells. Later on you see this ball of cells actually is hollow. You know what onde is?
Oh my god.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. When you eat onde, you're not eating a pre-baby. Okay, so the onde actually, if you the blastocyst. If you were to slice the blastocyst into half, you will see that it's hollow. It's hollow in the middle. Okay. This blastocyst will then start to undergo mitosis even more to form a small little organism. Okay, we'll call this organism an embryo. We call it an embryo before 8 weeks. So anything before 8 weeks is still an embryo. But this embryo will then develop into a giant yikes. Nico, flatter me, let me say it's disturbing. Okay, so then we will call this a fetus. Okay, so fetus is anything after the 8 weeks. Okay, anything after 8 weeks, fetus. So we don't need you to know in depth, but just understand that there's a sequence. You don't jump from zygote and say pop the fetus. Okay, there's a growth process. Just like to show you a quick video so that you can see what that looks like in real life. Have I shown you this video before? Yeah? Yeah, I'll show you again. It's so magnificent. You see, after the sperms fertilize the egg, you need to watch it like cinematic. Okay? Yeah, so close, right? Almost there. Come on. Yeah, okay, so mitosis occurs. The zygote starts to divide. This is a blastocyst, it's a ball of cells. Yeah, okay. Remember, this ball of cells is kind of hollow. Then you start to fold inwards. It starts to fold inwards. Not yet. Okay. As it starts to fold inwards, you will see a fold start to appear. You see those two branches coming in? This fold over here eventually becomes your spinal cord. Okay? So that is the back of the embryo. You can start to see the cells start to differentiate to form other kinds of cells. Some are beginning to move, and the heart is beginning to beat.
Oh my god, that does.
No, sorry, this is a salamander tadpole. Sorry, spoiler. That's not human, huh? Salamander eggs are transparent. Yeah. Bravo. Yeah, that's amazing. This is a frog version. This is all real, by the way. Don't know how they filmed this, it's very
Every last one undergoes rapid divisions and forms a blastule. Each division normally takes about 30 minutes.
You can see the blastocyst. Oh, this one look a bit disgusting. I don't know why. Then you will start to see the backbone form.
Develops into a gastric.
It will fold inwards. Okay, watch. I think the folding will start to appear soon. Even though this occurs in a frog, we also go through the same early stage. There will be an inner folding occurring, and then we'll get a spine. Oh, look.
Neural folds develop and fuse to form the spinal cord and brain.
It sounds more like Olympic. Okay, then you see a mini tadpole start to form. The tadpole itself looks pregnant now.
Eventually, the embryos hatch as freestanding tadpoles. The tadpoles undergo metamorphosis, and tiny frogs emerge that eventually grow into adults.
I'm so excited about the frog part. Okay, so have you seen this before? I find it very cute. So as after 8 weeks, where's my fetus? After 8 weeks, the fetus continues to grow and grow bigger. I like this chart because it gives you a more relatable understanding of how big the zygote fetus will eventually grow. Week 4, which is after 1 month, actually the embryo will only look like the size of the tip of your pencil. Okay, so that's after 1 month. Actually, it's only in the later stages, right, where it really starts to get bigger. 2 months is the size of a cherry tomato. Cherry tomato. Okay, so 2 months. Week 12 is how many months? 3 months. Okay, 3 months. This 3 months. So actually, at 3 months, I cannot tell that I'm pregnant yet. Right? Yeah? Cannot tell yet. Okay, 4 months. Oh my god, baby ejected itself in my mouth. Okay, at 4 months, you'll get a pear. Something the size of a pear. I think at 4 months, then I'll start to look like I have something. Okay, week 20, 5 months, size of a mango. Okay, grapefruit. Okay, this is like grapefruit already. Okay, let's go to the iceberg letters. Week 28, 7 months already. Okay, iceberg letters. So at 7 months, it's going to be very obvious already. Wow. Okay, week 32, pineapple. 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 Okay, pineapple still. Pineapple still really quite big. Okay, last one. Watermelon. Okay, so baby at watermelon stage, that's around 9 months, more than 9 months. About to no, not explode, sorry. It's not bigger. Okay, 9 months. In 9 months, the baby is extremely big already. What kind of watermelon you buy? Okay, so it's really big already. This one really comes big. Okay, it will be so big. Okay, but I'd like you to think about it. Imagine it's the size of a baby. Look at my waist. How much do you want to come out? Yeah? Okay, so males, right, if you notice males at hips, right, aren't very big. Right? They tend to be, the waist tend to be smaller because our pelvic bone, right, it's just not meant to accommodate a baby coming out. Female waist tend to be a little bit broader because the pelvic bone needs to be wider so that there's space for the baby to come out. Which channel does baby come out via? Urethra? It's going to be very painful. That means you develop the bladder, right? Okay, so where would it come out from? Yeah, come out via the vaginal channel. Okay, actually the channel is not very big either. Right? So imagine this baby needs to come out. Maybe the kid is around this side over here. So for it to come out, the cervix needs to enlarge. The vaginal opening also needs to enlarge. A lot of things need to start to enlarge for the baby to come out. It's not going to be very easy. A lot of animals, in fact, they give birth to slightly premature babies so that it comes out more easily. Humans, right, our babies develop until quite late, so it tends to be very large already by that point. So it gets a little bit harder to come out. So, are premature babies easier to give birth to? Okay, C-section. So another method of childbirth for humans is C-section. So either they will slice at the side, or the other side, or I think at the bottom. Yeah? But I think maximally it can go through 3 times only. Okay, because beyond that, also structurally the abdomen area may not cannot hold the fourth baby anymore. Because you really tear one, cut open a third time. Yeah? I think then you are making that tissue over there more structurally a lot deeper. Yeah. Okay, last part. What does a fetus need to grow and survive in the womb? What would it need? Okay, come show me as many as you got. Oxygen? Anything else? Okay, food. Anything else? Water. Anything else? Blood? Anything else? What else would a fetus need? Sorry? A home. A home. Love. Yeah. Anything else a fetus would need? Sunlight. Sunlight? What about the waste from the baby? This is removed somehow, right? Okay, so you need waste removal also. Okay, question. How does the baby get all these things? How from the mom? Okay, this is the thing that we all find relatable, right? Who here got no belly button? Yeah, who here got no belly button? Yeah, we should all have belly buttons, right? There is the remnant of where we were once connected to our mother. We were not connected belly button to belly button. Okay? Okay, just to make it clear. So it's not like there was a period of time where mine was connected to my mom's belly button. That's not what we are. So, okay, so we agree that there is the umbilical cord that somehow supplies the baby with these things. Okay? So does the baby breathe? Yeah? Yeah, can the baby breathe? By its lungs, what? Okay. Okay, so a baby, right, is actually surrounded by a baby. It's actually surrounded by a sac called the amniotic sac. Okay? This is fluid with a lot of it's fluid, water inside. That's the water bed. Okay? Baby cannot breathe in there. So it needs to get its oxygen from the mom.
I have a question.
Yes.
If it's like that, then why does the baby have heart?
Oh, what does baby have? Great question. Okay, so sorry, why are you asking that question?
Because
Why can't a baby have a heartbeat?
because like the main reason is like because the way never mind, it has a heartbeat because it needs to transport all of the nutrients in there.
Right, yeah? So even if it gets nutrients from the mom, it still needs to have a heartbeat so it can pump the oxygen and nutrients around the small little body, right? Okay, so we agree the baby doesn't breathe. It gets the oxygen from the mom. But how? Okay, by the tube, but transported via what? Is it oxygenated water? So does mom breathe, then the oxygen somehow end up in the amniotic sac and then it diffuses into the baby. Okay, it's actually supplied by the blood. You know when we breathe in, right? The oxygen will eventually oxygenate our blood, right? So that oxygenated blood will help to carry that oxygen and transfer it to the baby. Okay, so that's oxygen. What about food? You see, you eat one hamburger, then when it goes to the stomach, the hamburger breaks a small piece and the baby grabs a piece of hamburger and puts it in the mouth. Okay, the nutrients will again be digested by the mom, end up in the bloodstream, then go to the baby via the tube, the umbilical cord. Okay, so food also via blood, water also via blood. Okay, everything is via blood. If I need to remove waste products, right, it's also via the blood. Okay? Mom gets sick or baby gets sick. Why would you say that? Okay, now I want you to think about this. Would there be problems if baby and mom are connected by blood? Think about that. Imagine this is the baby. It's connected, umbilical cord, connected to the mom's blood vessels. Are there issues if a baby's blood system is connected directly to mom's blood system? Oh, no, it doesn't have. Yeah, so how? Are there issues if baby's blood is directly connected to mom's blood? Isn't that what's happening? Okay, but we think about it, is there issues if it truly connects? But what would the issues be? How does it come out? Okay, first thing, if baby's blood vessels are truly connected to mom's blood vessels, when baby comes out, you literally have to somehow sever the blood vessels from yourself and mom, First thing. Any other issues if baby's blood vessels are truly connected to mom's blood vessels? That may happen also. Direct circulation, anything that is toxic may end up directly to the baby. Perhaps, right? Some parts of the mom, maybe the blood is rechanneled elsewhere. Would it be too much pressure for the baby? You see that tiny little heart, then the mom's heart, If we connect the two together, mom's one heartbeat could burst the baby's heart. Right? So, do you notice there's an issue of connecting two blood systems directly to each other? One last thing. What if the baby's blood type is different from mom's blood type? Yeah? Right now, instant, even like fetal stage already coagulate, cannot develop further. Problem, right? Okay, so what's the solution? Okay, in reality, the baby's blood vessels do not connect to mom's blood vessels. And how does baby get nutrients? Yeah? Yeah, I'm going to show you the structure in, okay, we don't have time. Okay, I'll take a pause here. Next Friday when I see you, we will talk about how baby gets nutrients from mom. Right? I'd like you to try to interpret page 47. Okay, I'd like you to interpret page 47. When I first read it, I can't quite understand what's happening. But when I reread it a few more times, I try to make sense of what's happening. I try to draw out an image of how the connection occurs. I'd like you to make sense of how the baby connects to the mom. And then next time I see you next Friday, you'll try and make sense of it. Okay? But we do this because we realize there's a problem. We actually cannot connect two blood systems directly to each other. Right? In fact, that's why when we want to do blood donation, we have to make sure blood types are the same, everything is the same, right? Before we connect. Okay, so page 47 onwards, something you might want to read, then we'll continue on next lesson. Okay, our time is a little bit short. Actually next Friday, I would like to conduct the human repo quiz. Okay, is that possible? But I will not assess all these things. Okay, that we just covered. Okay? Because we are losing a lot of lessons, but at the same time I don't want you to stay back. I plan such a way that we are still on pace if we have our quiz next Friday. Okay? So focus more on the gametogenesis, oogenesis, spermatogenesis, menstrual cycle, ovarian cycle, all the meat of this chapter. Okay. Okay, thank you. Anyone wants to have a baby?